All right.
Pleasure.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Underwood.
Here.
Geltman.
Here.
Chasm. Present. Corn.
Yes.
Lehman.
Here. Okay, how about an approval of the agenda?
So moved.
With the blue sheet.
With the blue sheet.
As
So
amended.
moved with the blue
As
sheet.
amended with the blue sheet.
Support.
Okay, that was. Melissa with you with.
Elisa made the motion.
And Hyder supported it. All right. Is there any just further discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Conflict of interest? Does anyone have a conflict of interest? Public comment. Doesn't look like there's any public comment. Action item. The asset management. Dan and Joe.
I'll start off. You want me to? There you go. All right. This is an update to the 2022 asset management plan that was submitted to KMAC in the state. So every 3 years, you have to run through and do an update to the asset management plan, kind of show where you were, where you're going, and how the numbers look, with how how you're doing with your road funding and fixing roads. So you can scroll down. There's a lot of pages, a lot of filler and things in here, but if you go to the payment one there. Big thing, this is a map, kind of shows unpaved roads and paved roads and their condition. It's all the local roads and the primary roads. And then scrolling down from there, just your surface types and what you're maintaining. So it's just kind of inventorying everything, putting together what you have as an asset out there. And then we go into how they're performing as far as the construction goes. So this is the primary road network for since 2021 and just a little bit before that. You're sitting around 80% good and fair roads with bouncing between 20 and 15% poor, and projections for the future. So we use a model that kind of looks at the condition of everything, the ratings of the roads, and if you spend a certain amount of money, what you can expect it to look like in the next 3 years. So primary road network with the current funding that you have going towards primary road network is projected to be in pretty good condition. And then the next one is the local road network. So that's been hovering around that 30% good and fair. A little hard to tell with this because haven't rated with the Pacer system local roads since 2018. So this is based off of the degradation model, which is how roads deteriorate over time. It's pretty close. It does a good job. I compared it to the PCI data that was done in 2023. There's not an exact way to correlate the two. They read stuff slightly different, though it is close. So if you look at the PCI data that was collected in 2023 and look at the degradation model from RoadSoft, they correlate. They're very simple. So it just makes the assumption that the data that is used in this is valid. And given the funding that was projected with the new local neighborhood road fund and the millage and the MTF funds that the road commission has, this model assumed that you could spend around $6 million a year on local roads, on top of the 11 million that typically spend on your primary road network. So that would be that increase in funding to go to some of those through local roads. So in 3 years, you could expect an increase in the number of local roads that are good if you spent that much money.
It might get us to the 50% though.
Yeah, that's going to take more time. And the amount of money, if you were to do that in 3 years, the amount of money you would have to spend, I don't know if you could get on that construction done. Further on in the report, one of the things I did was I looked at how much, if you spent a certain amount of money, how long could you expect it to take to get to a goal of 80% good and fair, which has been in the asset management plan since 2014, I believe. The last one, I believe it was 90% of, I've heard some discussions on that, so it's to 80% good and fair. It would be a substantial increase, about $16.5 million to the local roads a year for 10 years to get to that goal. So it's above and beyond what's reasonable with funding you have. Kind of impractical, but that's the funding gap. So over time, if you do proper asset management, you'll get there. But the $6.5 million is going to take a while. And that includes all the subdivision roads and everything. They don't differentiate at the state level between those and, say, a Lafrenia road.
It is something I asked Joe to take a look at when he has time, is to take those subdivision roads out.
Yeah.
And see if that number's left with the
Yeah.
local roads, so we have an idea.
Yeah, and Dan and I discussed an asset management.
different.
An asset management plan isn't a capital improvement plan.
Yeah.
This is how you should spend the money and what you can expect. So it's reconstructions, preventative maintenance, overlays, the right fix at the right time when you do those. It's not picking exact projects.
This isn't necessarily a document we want to use, such as just what the state's requiring.
Yeah.
Yes.
So interestingly, and of course, you know, what, Act 325 was, 2017 or 2018.
When the gas tax
Yeah.
was changed.
When that, right. So Dan had mentioned that they don't like PCI, so you have to report it as Pacer.
Correct.
Okay, and so you're using their system to essentially to kind of even to produce this,
Yeah.
this result.
Yeah.
Is the goal essentially, do they have as the goal to just make sure that we're improving?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It just,
Yeah. And they like to know like funding gap. I think the state likes to keep track when people predict how their roads are going to turn out. Like what money do you need? So we can say, all right, our goal is to do this. We have this much money. This is what we can expect. To meet our goal, we need this much extra to go into fixing the roads. So that's a good number to know. Especially at a state level when you're making decisions. What is the road funding that would be needed to meet goals? If you scroll down to the, if you click on the bar, I believe it is after, yeah, that one up above the bridge asset. So that chart is, when you look at it, it's annual miles that you're doing and what do you need to do in order to meet your goal. So on the primary road network, in order to meet your goal, you're doing exactly what you need to do. You're at the 80% good fair goal. So from it, if you keep spending money and fixing those roads, you're good. The primary or the local road network is the one where it's a lot more of those reconstruction, those crush and shapes, and those expensive projects in order to get there.
yes.
So, reading the parts of the asset management report here, it says that the long range goal for the primary network is to have 50% of roads in good condition.
Good. Yes.
Right. But we are talking about 80%. And then we are also talking about that it's an unrealistic goal based upon current funding levels. So why are we talking about 80% as a goal for primary roads in good condition when we're not going to achieve it based upon current funding?
Good and fair. So the 80% goal is good and fair condition.
Okay, so you're combining.
Yes, you combine those because the cutoff for fair roads is at a 5, and those have your typical thermal cracking that you see. Like a 5 would be just about every skip line you have a crack across the road. But
Okay.
as far as like maintaining an asset like a road goes, that's a reasonable expectation that you're going to have some roads in that condition. And then you do preventative maintenance measures, crack fill, chip seal, keep them, it brings them back up to a good condition. At some point in time, you have to do something along the lines of a crush and shape. And proper asset management would be doing maintenance on those roads before they get there.
And the numbers, as far as what you conflated to Pacer numbers,
Yeah.
the PCI, the last the last, ratings that we had was 2023, right?
Yes.
So, and I mean, I say that because, I don't know, I mean, in the last year, there is some major improvement
Yeah.
that I think
Yes.
needs to be noted, so.
Yeah, I put those in the model as far as projects that were done. When you do something like a crush and shape or an overlay, there's a set number that it gets reset to. So if a project is logged in the system and it was an overlay, it gets reset to a 8 or a 9.
8 or 9, okay.
If you do a crush and shape, it goes to a 10. So those were put in the model.
Okay.
As completed projects, up those ratings on those local roads that things were done to. So it's accounted for in here.
But you're not accounting, for example, Town Line Road.
Yeah, so Town Line Road would have been reset to a 10 when it was done. There's a degradation model. Yeah, it was a crush and shape. So, or I'm sorry, not Town Line. I was thinking the frame here.
Yeah, yeah. I was just saying, hello?
Town Line would be,
Right.
Town Line would bump up to an 8. So it automatically goes to an 8 with a chip seal.
Okay.
That's how the system works when you rate them. So the next time someone drives down that road to rate it with Phaser system, they'll say it was chip seal. We don't see any cracks in the road. It's an 8. If those show up sooner, next time they see a crack when they drive down the road, they rate it accordingly. So it's a surface condition rating.
All right.
But that project was logged and that road's rated an
Okay.
8. So those are all in there. The roads that wouldn't, I was thinking Lafreniere because that was done in 15, I believe. So it would have been rated in 18 the last time local roads were done. You will see that one is just a predicted degradation.
Sure.
Which it's fairly accurate. It maps pretty close. Sometimes you see swings up and down a little bit, but nothing too drastic. So that's how the local roads were used in the model. And if you scroll down some more, continue on. It's further down. We'll get right into right through all this. This is all boilerplate, just discussing what assets you have. Oh,
Should I go down the plan projects, culvert assets?
no, I was looking for the,
And we're still unsure of how many culverts we truly have, right?
yes, 900 and some that are logged in the system when we went around and looked at them and rated them with that grant funding that was received. Some have been added as projects are done. So as projects are done, culverts are found, they get put in the system. Actual condition of them back in 2017 when they were rated. Sure, it's changed some in the last 9 years. But really the goal with those is, as you're doing road projects, evaluate your culverts, fix them. There's some that I know that the maintenance department knows about and they want to get to.
Keep going.
Yeah, you're way up in the document. Grab the slider bar and go down. It's I believe it's Appendix A is right where we get into the actual nuts and bolts of the. Yep, there we are. So there's three parts to this that they like to see. There's a compliance plan that's kind of a big overview. This is the pavement asset management plan. So if you click on the model trends, and then we can scroll down. This is just talking about Phaser and reset triggers and ratings that go along with it. So this is what happens when projects are done. So here we are. So this is where one of the more important parts of like this model is, it's hard to read on here, I know, but it's your remaining service life and predicting out what you should be working on as far as types of maintenance. So you can see the blue would be the rehab projects or crush and shapes, and the yellow is preventative maintenance. So as you do those rehab projects, you go right into your preventative maintenance 1 year. So it's not 10 miles of this a year, 20 miles of this. You're reacting to the work that was done and keeping it good. And then if you were to run this out 10 years, you would have big rehab years, big preventative maintenance years, big rehab years, big preventative maintenance years. And same graph as the, that you looked at before. This is your local road one. You can see there's just a lot of rehab work that needs to get done, a lot of crushing shapes. And then this would be the additional funding and what it would look like in 10 years if you couldn't spend that much money on the local roads.
Assuming all things remain.
Yeah, assuming all prices remain the same.
Right.
There is 5% inflation built into it.
Okay, all right.
Whether or not actual bid prices follow that, you know, never quite sure. So really, this is just an update to what was done previous and kind of the backbone of the.
And this is
portion.
expected to be accepted by, the agency, by MDOT, I guess, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, this followed their boilerplate template that they love to see, so.
Now, were there things that you would have liked to have added? But there wasn't a place for it?
In general, the goal of a capital improvement plan, this doesn't discuss how you pick projects and why you pick projects. So it doesn't take into account traffic volumes and, like how many people are using the road, what they connect to, that kind of thing. This is all things equal, what you could do. Whereas a capital improvement plan is looking at, how many people are traveling on the roads. It's criticality to the network. The condition of the road, those kinds of factors. There's some political factors in there with what townships want and what's important to them, that get drawn into that. Also, where you're doing projects. So you can't bombard one side of town and just tear it up and go at it. You gotta think critically about how you're gonna move traffic around the projects that you're doing. So that's like the capital improvement plan part of it. So sometimes in an asset management plan, it could say, we should seal 130 miles of road this year. Well, that's not always practical because that's not how the real world works when you're putting projects out.
Okay, I guess more than what I'm thinking is, are there things that are critically a matter of record? That the template, you're in their system.
Yep.
And a lot of times you get into a system, it's like, I'd really like to add this, but there's no place to put it.
Yeah, one thing that we, traffic signals.
Okay.
Those are important for flow of traffic and it's an asset that you have to maintain. We can pull a bit of a budget out, but as far as like the system modeling that part of it, no, you just have to take that chunk of money and assume that you're going to spend it elsewhere. But as far as like an asset management plan for all the assets that the road commission has to maintain, it doesn't incorporate everything. That's where you look at your past project budget, say that historically the road commission has spent $11 million on road construction themselves. We know that some of it goes to signals, line painting, and those other assets that are important for the road network, but there's not a way to model it all in one system. So yeah, you're doing some stuff on the side. As far as predicting what the condition of your road network is going to look like, it does a really good job of that. It is pretty good at that. Doesn't make great maps that are easy to look at.
I noticed that. A very small chart.
Yeah, and
There was that one appendix where.
yeah,
But yeah.
yep, and it doesn't play well with the GIS software Esri that the road commission has. It's very clunky to get the data back and forth. It's not great for that. So that's some stuff that would be really nice if the two could talk together, but they won't. They don't. They won't. Their databases are written too different to make that happen. I'm sure Larry could attest to that. He tried.
I tried.
At nausea. But as far as like predicting out in the numbers and what you can do with road work, it's fairly robust with that.
Do we need to approve this?
Yeah.
We need to.
I can make a motion.
Okay.
To approve the asset management plan to the Transportation Asset Management Council. Required submission to MDOT by Public Act PA 325.
I'll second that.
We have a motion support. Do we need further discussion?
I have a question on Appendix A.
Hmm.
The 2026 to 2028 paved county primary and local road plan projects.
Yes.
How did we come up with that list?
That list is the planned projects right now for 2026. I did not,
Okay, because I was confused about,
I put 2026 to 2028. There's plans for 2028. Nothing set in stone.
But then in 3 years, we have to update our
Yes.
TAMC anyway.
Yeah, so,
Bidding projects. right?
yeah, we have vetting
Yeah.
projects in there that we know the fiscal year for. TAMC does not necessarily say that you have to make a map of everything you're gonna do in the next 3 years.
okay,
They understand that. I was in a training with them. They said, we understand things change, things move.
Mhm.
Just the planned projects that you have.
so are these just the Fed Aid projects?
No, this was, provided to me by staff, and it's the roads that they know are partnership projects that they're working on, federal aid projects, chip seals for roads that have recently been fixed.
Barney is there.
Yep, Barney's there to get a
Tom
chip
Lane's
seal,
there.
Tom Lane's there to get, some work done to it.
The only reason I
Hammond Road
ask
project out here.
is because there are a couple of things that we have talked about that are not on here. So I'm just trying to figure out
Yep.
as to, are they set in stone if we are approving?
It is not set in stone.
All right.
One thing that we're working on that piggybacks on the asset management plan is the capital improvement plan.
The
That-
5-year plan.
The 5-year plan.
Right.
So that will be where there's a list of projects out 5 years to be presented to the board. I'm sure that one's also not set in stone because things change and stuff pops up. And MDOT can call and say, can you please move this project because we plan on doing a roundabout and it's gonna mess up traffic. And if you close that road, it's gonna cause a nightmare, which recently happened.
It's been done.
Yeah, at least we're talking about it now.
All right.
So no, this project list is, not all encompassing.
Okay.
It's the projects that we know. So like Fife Lake, the goal is always to chip seal a road the year after you do a major asphalt kit. So that's on there. It's a chip seal. It's not anything beyond that. Hammond Road, been worked on and talked about hopefully going out to bid soon. So those are the ones that we're at.
Any other further comments?
Thanks for your work.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
I really do
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Oh, one other comment, just a note, it's not anything like substantial here, but your bridge network is in really good shape. A couple bridges are happening like with federal funds. Talking to other engineers in other counties. They'd be jealous of the condition of the bridges that are in this county now.
Do you think 150,000 a year for the next 3 years is sufficient to keep our existing bridges in good condition?
Maintenance wise, yeah, so anything that's been done, River Road, Garfield Road, Diamond Park. That would be like saline treatments and routine maintenance, so cleaning out the expansion joint, winter maintenance, sand my kit in there, clean that out, keep it from cracking the bridge deck so it can expand and contract. Whitener Road, the federal aid one that's coming out. That's just gonna be a brand new bridge, and then in a few years, you're gonna wanna think about doing a saline treatment in the deck. Some maintenance to the timber bridges, making sure that decks are sealed up and you're not getting any water in them. So really, with the good condition of the bridges and how new quite a few of them are, it's just routine maintenance. But yeah, those saline treatments are something to really get on the list and consider to keep that concrete sealed up.
Okay, we have a motion and support. We don't have any further questions. All in favor of adopting the asset management plan? Yeah.
Aye.
All in favor? Motion passes.
Thanks, Joe.
B, the intergovernmental agreement.
So the agreement though, last time they asked to get over to legal and prepare, for East Bay Township. It has been sent over to East Bay Township. Just wanted to make sure the board did see it. We also left this as a placeholder tonight. In case East Bay Township had signed it, they could have brought it back here tonight and we could have signed it taking care of it.
Yeah, they've had an opportunity. It's not as if.
Their meeting was Monday,
Yeah.
right?
So you have not heard whether one way or the other, if they have approved it or not?
No, we did get it over to them. We have not heard.
Thought it had to be.
I thought
Yeah,
I
that's
thought it
right.
had to be done, exactly. That's
Yeah.
what I thought.
Yeah.
It was February 19th or something, I thought.
Yeah.
And that's why I thought we were having this
I
special
agree.
meeting, to be honest with you. It's because of this.
Maybe someone from MDOT took it over.
We're certain it was on their agenda on Monday, or we aren't certain?
I'm not certain. I know I got it over to them. And
They're aware of
I'm
what's
looking it
going
up
on.
right now.
So,
Okay. Well,
we did our,
Well,
we did our part.
all right.
Maybe they asked them to have their lawyer look at it. You know, I'm just throwing that out there.
So you don't need an approval from us because this was something we had already approved at the last meeting and this is, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once they
Yeah.
sign it, you're just gonna sign it because we already discussed this at our last meeting.
And if they wanted to make changes to it,
Then
then
we
have
would-
to come back.
I
and
think
want to
that's
be
what it
approved,
was.
right?
That's it, one. Yeah, if they're gonna make changes to it, then it does have.
So maybe the not hearing means they aren't making changes to it and they just plan on talking to Dan and have him sign it then.
I don't know.
Well, we'll move on. C, the consideration of written
I would,
communication.
I'll make the motion that we go into closed session to discuss written communication from council.
Also.
Okay. Jason and Hyder. Roll call when you're ready, Phil.
Gasson,
Yes.
Corn.
Yep.
Underwood.
Yes.
Gilman.
Yes.
Lehman.
I'll support.
We have to roll call again. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
I will make a motion to authorize our road manager to sign the release and settlement agreement as discussed in closed session.
Support.
Is there any further discussion? Do we roll call?
Yeah, do a roll call.
Yeah.
Underwood,
Yes.
Gilman,
Yes.
Chasm,
Yes.
Horn,
Yes.
Lehman.
Yes. All right. Well, we have, I think this is reversed, so we're gonna do the manager's comment before the public.
Just wanted to give a little update on funding. Did have a meeting this week and I did receive some emails. Pretty much it's talking about the neighborhood road fund, which is the marijuana fund over the legal battle. And they did now say, originally they were told to budget it. They're saying, don't plan on budgeting it. In the meeting that we were just in, sounded like they said, don't plan on it until 2027.
So nice.
That's optimistic.
Phil was in there as well. I don't know if.
Yeah, Pat McCartney gave a presentation and he didn't have much to offer and didn't even know the timing of the corporate income tax distributions into the neighborhood roads fund, but it's gonna be waterfalled. So they're gonna do like the bridge, like 100 million to the bridges and then rail grades and then infrastructure projects. So there's like 240 million that they're gonna fill first before it hits into the neighborhood.
So how does that affect us for 2026? What
So-
real numbers?
So the state that, I mean, they initially said, they're on a fiscal year, we're in a calendar year. So we already kind of took our lumps when I trued up an accrual basis for 2025.
Okay,
The 20-cent gas tax, we should see that, on our February accrual basis payment. So we should have 11 months of the new 20-cent gas tax that kind of offset some of that. I'm gonna go through and do my own calculation based on the last couple of years of gas and diesel tax collections and kind of come up with my own estimation.
it's not.
Because our factors did change last year on the urban miles. So I can't simply use, last year's plus a certain percent because of, the different distributions that we are getting. So I'll have something in a budget amendment. Hopefully that dials it in a little bit better. We'll carve out the neighborhood roads fund and account for that separately, because who knows the timing of that. They kind of said, plan on what you did last year. After we get through a year, then we'll know how the funding is gonna be distributed, and then that will be good to budget on an ongoing basis. But for right now, they're saying to kind of scale back.
Isn't the tax issue, marijuana tax, isn't that in courts though?
It is, yeah.
Right? So,
Yeah.
so it's not an issue of the legislature and doing anything. It's the fact that that portion of the bill is being challenged in courts. So optimistically, we could
Right.
budget it in 2027, but as of now, I don't think it has even made
And
out.
even if it passed, like the collection of it and the
Aren't they
distribution.
collecting it now?
Yeah, they're collecting this stuff.
They're
The
collecting.
the wholesale, 24% wholesale tax, yeah, there's no discussion on when that'll.
Not a lot of happy marijuana sellers.
Yeah.
sellers right there.
I did go back to the monthlies, and for the recreational marijuana tax, they distribute that to the MTF in the month of December as a lump sum. So they don't prorate it throughout the year like the revenues we receive from everything else. That was given the last day of the month. So we won't really see that until the February cash check is when it hits our bank. And who knows on this neighborhood roads fund, how that's gonna be hitting the bank.
But I believe Dan has said to me, we're gonna try to hold our road improvement budget based on some of the other positives that have happened.
Yeah, we're closing the year favorably and, we'll get through this year.
We're still planning on that $17.5 million.
Without the additional marijuana funds.
So what's the holdup? If they're still collecting it? What's the
They
hold?
can collect it all day long, but it doesn't come to us until it goes to Department of Transportation. And then Department of Transportation will distribute it.
Right, but
according-
so the it's not going to the Department of Transportation because of the litigation or because of other factors? Okay,
Could be.
so we don't know.
That's a trade.
We don't know.
All right.
Yeah, that was my update for tonight.
Okay, thanks. Is there any public comment? Oh, again, I think the public comment should go, but commissioners' comments, questions, future agenda items.
So one thing as a future agenda item that I want to bring up is I think we need to do a performance evaluation for our road manager. The last one we did was in 2024. We did not do one last year, and his contract is going to be expiring at the end of this year. And if the board is going to take up that contract, I believe it's necessary to have a performance evaluation done this year, probably sometime in June or July.
Who would you like to design the evaluation?
So I would like the board's with the board's authorization to allow me to contact the attorney who handled it in 2024 for us. The employment attorney,
Was it anything?
Lindsay,
I liked her a lot.
and she developed the matrix for that. And then I can contact her and ask her what her availability is and when she can
I
go.
think that's an excellent plan. We need to vote on that.
I don't think so. I think you
Okay.
can do that. Chair can authorize me to do that.
Because we're gonna be approving it
Yeah.
as.
Yeah, it's just an initial contact.
Okay.
And
Great.
then I can set up a meeting with you and us, to go over with her as to what we'd like, how we like the matrix to be developed.
Okay. And you think we could have that ready midsummer or something?
That's why I'm gonna call her and see that that's what tell her that that's what we are shooting for, so that she has at least 2-3 months to plan for that and, meet with us.
Excellent plan.
All right.
Would anybody else like? Yeah.
I met with Garfield Township, John Syke, about something else, but when I was there, I decided to have a meeting about Zimmerman Road, kind of was, sort of the discussion based on our comments at our last meeting. And John shared with me their recently approved master plan that had a complete streets plan section in it. I don't know of any other townships that have done that, maybe East Bay. And of course, I left it. It's sitting on my desk at work. But I wanted to share that with you guys, maybe at a future meeting. But I'd love to see more of where we sit at a table with people that are all involved in it, like John. One thing that was interesting in the complete streets plan that I've been involved in a lot of master plans and I've never seen before is they had something called a future connectors plan. And what this is a set of connectors in the township that have already been voted on and approved by the township board, meaning if the funding were to come up for it, we already are on board with this. And the connector that was the most important to me was one I didn't know about. It's new, and it was in Barnes Road. And if you guys know that Barnes Road dead ends into, Long Lake, it actually would make it go straight and connect through to Zimmerman. It would bypass all the traffic coming into town from Leelanau County, Bugai, and they would never have to go to the Zimmerman Long Lake intersection, helping to break up some of the congestion in front of West Senior High School. And apparently they had a pretty in-depth discussion about this a couple of years ago at the Garfield board when they approved the connectors. And it was a really good, John's always a valuable person to talk to and learn from, but it was very interesting to me to think about the fact that this future connectors already approved map exists and we didn't really know about it. And it would be helpful for us because if we're negotiating with the developer, say potentially to help do some cost sharing on finishing that road, well, what if we were able to bring the whole vision with the connectors into play? Garfield's already approved it, saying we support this and want to help in funding it. So I wanted to share that map and say that it exists and maybe encourage our townships when they do their master plans to have these future connectors and complete streets section. It's just another page in there, but it's the board saying, we're already cohesively deciding, hey, this is a great road that we want to exit. Obviously, the Zimmerman connector was in there. That was already part of it. But thinking about Barnes going up there, I thought was really interesting. It isn't necessarily something I'm saying we have to be approve of. But the concept that there's already been these discussions at the township level.
They're figuring out what to do with that particular area.
Yeah, and I wanted to make
Right.
sure that we connected.
Well, you
with
still
them.
can do something with that area.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure that while we were connecting with them, particularly when we were discussing shifting over into an easement onto that property
Sure.
across. Well, that would also be the same property owner. That would be a Barnes connector. So I just kind of wanted to bring that up, and that was important to me that we sort of always had that. Maybe Garfield might be the only one with this approved plan, but I certainly think other townships are interested and would. And then always thinking about that when we're talking to a developer, that we should also be connecting with the townships on that.
Hmm.
That was one thing, and I do have a copy of it somewhere. The second thing isn't very good, so I'm just gonna try not to cry. So publicly, it was announced today, something that we knew. So our friend Vic got some very bad news. So I know he's been a really good friend of the road commission and has come and done a lot of things with Dan and the crew, and has been such an integral part of our communications plan and has done so much. And he's made the decision with this new cancer to not seek treatment. So I just want to ask whoever you are out there and whatever you believe in to maybe send a message or just think about him, because he's facing a really big battle right now. And I sure hope he's with us for a lot longer, but his decision is his piece, and we don't have to agree with it or believe in it, but we sure should be supporting him. So if you can send a message to him or just a shout out, I know how much he'll really appreciate that. And when I am back, I'll be spending some time with him, and hopefully he is going to keep working as long as he can. And Jack has been filling in, but he is making his hospice plans right now. So I just wanted to share that and be a horrible downer, but also just to thank him so much for all he's done for us here. He's been a huge part of our public comeback with communications. So if you could send some good thoughts to Vic McCarty.
I kind of hard to follow that, but I do have one that I'd like to discuss with some of the townships that I've met with. I've brought up, and I would like us to come up with a sample ordinance for installation of windmills and solar panel farms and those. We sat through a meeting with CRAM, the association, solar, called the other. And it's very important for us to have a role in how those are constructed, if they are to ever be constructed. Because the amount of damage these contractors do to the roads where they have put them in is tremendous.
It's insane to watch
So
those things go
I
down
would
the
like to
road.
be proactive, come up with one, have it checked out with the attorneys, whatever, and then send that out to the townships so they actually see what we're actually asking for. Basically, we want them to, give us a bond, guarantee replacement, because they will literally tear the road up.
Yeah.
So that's
It's like heavy tree work. I mean,
it's very bad. So, and a couple of my townships are already planning their budgets, which start in October, and they've already set aside a couple $100,000 for their projects. So they're going to be very proactive with us this year, which is always good. So,
Anything else?
All right, public comment? All right, motion to adjourn.
Let's adjourn.